snafu. It looks like we are recording this. Is that correct, Aria?
Yep, I just started it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So today is the third and final part of our South Street Road Safety Audit. I'd like to first thank all of you who participated in the previous ones and for everybody to participating in this. After our meeting today, we will then summarize everything in one document and then send it out for everybody's review. And then eventually start rolling out into various public meetings, of course, having it online. Basically, what we're doing is looking at the section of South Street between Sagamore Parkway and the interstate, looking at crashes, looking at multimodal infrastructure, looking at congestion. We've looked at our observations. We've looked at the field visit. And now's the time where we share our observations with everyone. And then with those observations, and then develop a solutions project list. We are going to break it down into 3 sections. The first section is basically from Sagamore Parkway to just west of Creasy Lane, and then Creasy Lane, and then east of Creasy Lane to the interstate. So we're going to do this like we did for the pre-field meeting with Post-it notes. Here in the meeting, we are going to do that physically, but then online. We also are going to use the Post-it notes for so you can write in on that. And then we're going to be breaking that into 2 different parts. The first part is observations. And then instead of us or me or Jeremy started talking about and listing off those observations, we are wanting you to tell us your observations. And then we'll do the exercise, the Post-it notes again, and then selection and projects, and then come up a list, hopefully a fairly good, extensive one. And then for that, identify what you think short, medium, or long-term will be. And then, like we did for the observations, we will go out and everybody will share the what we put down. Here we do have the summaries from Laura. She already provided hers. And then also from central office, they did provide theirs as well. So we have copies of that here. And so without further ado, we're going to start this off. And once again, we're going to try to keep this and cut it off at noon. Hopefully we'll get done sooner, depending on how we do our input or how much we have of that. So the first section we are going to look at is the section from basically Sagamore Parkway to west of Creasy Lane. And your task right now is then to actually fill in the Post-it notes and fill in your observations, your thoughts, what you've seen with the or seen in the corridor, something that doesn't look quite right. One thing that I did send out earlier is that when we were doing the field trip or the field visit, and we looked at all of the crashes at the barrier ends, one thought came to my mind was that, well, how does this play in with weather and time? And it was really interesting. I sent this out earlier that the crashes, it was quite interesting to see that over 80% of the crashes occurred when the police said it was dark. Roughly 50% of the crashes were when it was raining and then the pavement was wet. So that is a telltale sign of what we might suggest as solutions in the second phase. So are we ready with the online whiteboard, Aria?
Yep, it's up.
Okay, great. So now we'll take a few minutes here, both online and here in the room here to, we got Post-it notes, write in your observations and post them to either here physically or on the board.
Do you want me to compare to yours? Do you want me to transfer it to? Okay.
Multiple observations on that list.
You can write one or you can write many.
Do you want general observations now or like in which section, I guess, do you want?
From Sagamore Parkway to west of Creasy Lane.
I mean, general for the whole corridor.
That's a good question. Yeah, if you'd like to do that too. So if you just have general, again, the question was if you, for general entire corridor, go ahead and add them here.
And if anyone's having trouble with the whiteboard on Teams, you can just type in the chat too, and I'll post your messages in.
Can we see the, is there a way to make us see the whiteboard here?
Yeah, see, this is the problem that I was having the first time when we were having this meeting.
Nobody's
We can't see it.
okay. Let me restart Teams real quick. That maybe worked last time. Okay, any luck seeing the whiteboard this time?
There we go.
Yeah.
That works.
All right, great.
Okay.
You make it bigger. Or is that on our end?
Which one?
Over here, we have one for observations.
Oh, you want to stick them up there? Okay.
Well, for you, if you just,
Oh, yeah.
we have your list.
I know, I just. So when everybody is done writing, then we'll do the discussion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Okay, you don't flip. I'm not even writing anything. I commandeered this. That's why I sent mine beforehand. You wouldn't be able to read that. Can you read them as they're coming up, Doug?
Yes.
You read them for us.
Yes.
out loud.
No.
Yes, I can read more up. Thanks.
The first one, in general, most of the existing traffic signals should be modernized to make them more visible with reflective flat back.
That one.
Signal monitors.
No, I mean, if you have the same ones, that's great too. So, yeah,
Rip it up.
please.
I can't spell, I mean, reflectorized doesn't say that. That's what it meant.
Well, that's fine. I'm tongue twisted as well, so. And then the second one, in general, the pedestrian facilities should be enhanced sidewalk. The barrier wall may not have sufficient offset based on the speed limit. It may be better to have center curves or in some locations, just eliminate the center treatment for short distances. So,
What kind of offset is needed?
so we got two here. We got, and they're ahead online. Uh-oh.
Not anymore.
Well, we're typing. That's
Got three of them.
Oh, okay.
Mine has 5.
Yeah, we're ahead.
Okay.
We got 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Speed us, guys. Oh, wait, we're counting all mine too, so we got like 100.
I'd like to think that our online comments are more comprehensive, which makes up for the lower number.
Oh,
Oh,
I know.
Distance, sorry, I'm here.
No, she and I go back to our hall. She loves those little sneak little digs. She'll do it.
We know where you are, right? You're only a couple blocks away.
I am safe in the basement though, so
Oh, no, you're not safe in.
Still getting filled in.
High number of rear end crashes indicate capacity or transmissions. I got great eyes from far away.
Wow.
Oh,
He's going, Jeremy's
Well,
going
I'm not,
to
I
town.
was just saying.
I'm the only one here with the glasses.
We're always tearing on
Oh,
screens.
Yeah.
I do have some like anti-glare ones. That way I can look.
So any more online? We all finished online?
Yep, I think we're about wrapped up here, it looks like.
Okay. Jeremy's still working away on his.
Do you want to share the ones that we had here with the people online?
Is that okay with you, Jeremy?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start online. The first one, in general, most of the existing traffic signals. The person who wrote that, please share with you more about your comment, if you could, please.
It's Tom Ford, and as we all know, one at Sagamore Parkway and the signals down at the I-65 interchange ramps are newer. They are either black signals with reflectorized back plates. The rest of them are older with yellow signal heads, no reflectorized back plates. If power goes out in a dark situation at nighttime and or rain or whatever, and the signals are not energized, the back plates would make it aware to people coming up to it that there is a signal here, there's an intersection. It's just a more standard and more safe way of making them. And these are short-term improvements, because my longer term is to get rid of many of these and make it RCI interchange or intersection corridor.
Okay, great, thank you. And there's one high number of rear end crashes.
Yeah,
A person
That's me.
who,
All the three across the top are me.
oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Laura. I can't, I
No,
didn't have a
it's okay.
donut. I didn't have a donut to slow me down.
Oh,
So
man.
anyway, in general, the pedestrian facilities should be enhanced. Sidewalk and or multi-use paths should be extended throughout the entire corridor length. Use pedestrian signals that signalize locations. There's evidence of pedestrians there with their chicken trails or deer trails or whatever you want to call it, getting to the bus stations. So we ought to encourage that they do it safely along the side on a sidewalk or on a path. And I guess on the south side would be more appropriate, because that's where the Caterpillar building is, that's where the bus stops are. And, putting it on the north would be good, but that's just increased costs. And then the last one, the high number of rear end crashes indicate capacity or congestion issues, timing improvements. Timing improvements or synchronized movements need to be encouraged. So we need to make sure that they're all interconnected and working together as one unit, as opposed to individually separate intersections. Make sure that we can get platoons through safely and cohesively.
Thank you. And then the last comment online.
That's not me.
That's me.
Just want
It's Tim
to
Watson.
tell us about it fairly quickly.
Yeah, we've got a section of 231 in Crawfordsville that we had barrier wall, similar look to this. It may not have had as much of an offset as what yours does, but to between edge of pavement and a barrier, there should be at least 4 feet. I'm not sure that that's accomplished here. We are removing the sections that are tangent to a turn lane along that corridor with our project coming up. It was just let, I believe. So it just struck me that this is very similar, that these end treatments may be getting hit frequently because they're very, very close proximity to the travel lane. So, and honestly, the speed limit through there is 45 or less. So none of that barrier wall would have to remain. You could put in center curb, which even if somebody hit it, it would be less damage than hitting a barrier wall. But if the barrier wall is needed for crossover, if there's a concern about crossover crashes, I can't imagine why there would be. But that would be the only reason to keep the barrier wall. Otherwise, it's more of an obstruction, I think. But also, some places you could just cut it back, like, that intersection just before you get to the railroad. There's two intersections where it's just really short turn lanes and there's no place else to turn. So it's not like the center treatment is precluding any left turn movements other than at the two intersections that it's permitted for. So it could just be eliminated and take out the hazard altogether.
Are you talking about west of the railroad tracks near Hammond? Between Sagamore?
Let me go there. It was just east of the tracks. There's a short segment west of Farabee.
Post office.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah,
And
okay.
all it does is, define those two turn lanes, but there's no place else to turn left. So there's nothing to preclude there with a center treatment. The only thing that it's doing is acting as an obstacle to keep people from inadvertently crossing over. So that piece could be just eliminated and just striped turn lanes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question since we're talking about barrier? So we have this that you sent out, the summary of impact attenuator crashes. When you were looking at this, did you also see a number of hits on that Jersey wall?
I did not look at
Okay.
those, just specifically
Okay.
the ones that.
So these are just the ones that hit at the ends?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm wondering if we need the Jersey wall, because usually that is just to prevent crossover. But unless we know, I guess I would want to see how many people are hitting that.
Yeah.
That's been reported, to see if it would be okay to take that out.
Okay.
I mean, it's leading us to, based on the speed limit and the congestion and stuff, but if we improve all that.
Well, as Tim said, the New Jersey barrier wall could be replaced with a center median curb, and you'd still preclude people from crossing over into the opposing lanes, but it would be
I
less
have
of
to
an
disagree
obstacle.
on the preclude.
Yeah, I would
Sorry.
too.
Curb
What?
is not going to stop a number of cars. It might stop like a Hyundai, but I'll
Even
disagree on
small
that.
cars.
But yeah, it might
At
stop.
speed,
small cars.
yeah, at speed, it will not stop a car. And when I say at speed, that's 40 miles an hour. It will not stop a car, even a small car. Voice of experience here,
Okay.
unfortunately.
How many curbs you run over there, Aria?
Oh, this is Aaron. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
Hey,
Oh, never mind. I know how many curbs you run over.
Hey, the other thing.
Okay, we're gonna go on. We got a
Sorry.
bunch more
Can
to
I
go
ask a
on.
question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So that Jersey wall was installed within the last 10 years, correct?
It's been longer than that.
Has it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Since you're on the board there, Jeremy, would you like to cover some of yours?
Yeah, so we already talked about lack of backplates at multiple intersections, lack of street lighting. A lot of these are just general.
Okay,
And they would even apply to the opposite end of the corridor as well.
okay.
There's several old State Road 26 signs that remain, and a lot of the street name signs are too small. I mean, even the ones that are overhead, they're not large enough. The crash attenuators, we talked about those, and you've sent stuff out. Lack of ped and bike infrastructure. And then the bus stops. There's just several comments that I had about the bus stops, that there's too few. The locations are questionable, as far as convenience for the end user. I understand why they were picked where they are currently, but if we're looking at long-term solutions, then, I think everybody's on board with that, including city bus. That we would be looking for places that end users would want to use the bus. And then, no connectivity to some of the bus stops as far as no sidewalk, no way to get to and from the businesses. And then I just put a routes question mark because I know that there was some comments about them looking at the routes and maybe changing the routes up. No signs in general. There's a lot of legacy signs out there from when it was an NDOT road. You can tell by the stickers on the back. Some of that just means that we need to replace them because they're getting old and not the retro reflectivity isn't good enough. Some of them may need to be pulled because they're not applicable anymore. There's a lot of leaning signs and then just some of questionable need. So really signs in general, whole corridor is something that we need to look at. And it's something that could be a short-term solution. And then it can be hard to see past opposing left turns. And I know that it used to be protected only, and it was changed to protected permissive phasing. And I think we need the permissive phasing or else the capacity is just not there. And so just as a longer term, a medium or a longer term solution, consider offset less for that. If that's the correct term, I don't remember if that's the correct term, but
Yeah.
I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. I think that covers all mine that are up here. There's several other ones up here. I think I covered a lot of these. Speed too high is another one that's up here. I don't know if whoever wrote these wants to be these.
We need to basically actually jump to our next one to make sure we're on time.
Okay. I think a lot of these were inconsistent shoulders is one. Lack of safe spaces.
That was, and we're like for transit users.
Okay.
Vanity in the car.
Yeah, check barrier wall hits to see if it could be taken out. I think that covers all of them.
Okay, so we had some good observations shared with us, and I wish we could go through all of them, but in order to keep track on time, because we still have the other section of South Street and then Creasy Lane, so the big intersection. We're going to jump to our second part of the Sagamore to West Creasy Lane. And this is where we're going to write in what we think the solution and projects that we should implement or that would be good to implement. And then if you could also put beside that, like a S for short term, M for medium term, or long for a long range term. And then where should they fill those out, Aria?
No, I can just rename these.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fill it out below below those 5.
We can just use the blue column here.
Oh, okay,
I think we're doing solutions for the first section, right?
yes.
Okay.
Well, maybe since we talked about the general too, we can have general with this. So for this, if you have specific or solutions for this section, please add that or general as well. We'll just go ahead and take care of those. So.
I would say. Solutions and short-term, medium solutions that we evaluated. Service.
So did you define medium as up to 15 means out?
That's a good question.
Thought I saw that.
Yeah.
That seems long term to me.
Yeah, short term, I was thinking like within 5 years. A medium would be what, 6 to, what do you think, 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everything longer than 10 would be long term. Thank you for highlighting that. My apologies.
You can close an intersection pretty quickly in a second.
Replace it with something pretty quick. Yeah, let's go. It's fine.
You're asking the hard questions.
Like the hard hitting order.
Yeah.
He's on it.
Yeah, you won't want to know. It's not.
People want to know.
That's what.
Ken wants to know.
People want to know.
Ken deserves to know.
People is like with that and that's, it's got the like press.
Oh.
Really?
We're still going a year strong. We only have 2 on the board here.
I started my sentence and I wrote with a capital E, and now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Emergency prevention.
You go with that, yeah.
E. Sort of E. Evaluate something.
Evaluate the emergency.
It'll come to you. Safeway. That was the name of the rest. Safeway. The grocery store. See, that's what we go.
I mean, the solution is just run a helicopter, right? And it needs to get anyone in this corridor, just rents a helicopter to the space in the air.
Well, I was just gonna like grade separate everything, like just do an overpass.
Yeah.
You know, that might be medium term, right?
Yeah.
You are working on air taxis.
That's right, big helicopter, that's great, right?
Elevate increasing over South Street.
Yeah, great separation.
I think I said, we're out walking the big, carrying the whole room.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest.
Really well for Boston.
Yes, how many years and how many millions of.
Yeah.
What was it like? 5?
So is that one of your solutions?
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, I always tell people nothing's off the table. We're not judgmental.
yeah.
We'll laugh afterward.
Yeah.
Can you believe
Take a couple more minutes here. Or another, a couple more minutes.
Are we gonna go through all the solutions? Just discuss?
It's not all of them, but some of them.
Okay. Go through all of them. Well, I mean, that's the part of getting the team together. I mean,
Yeah.
this stuff, you know, just not go, I mean, for next time, I would say just have everybody send their comments beforehand and then we'll just
Yeah.
go straight to the discussion, because that's the
Mhm.
purpose kind of the team to get it together. So,
Yeah.
to discuss everything.
We still see more comments coming in. We're gonna go, actually. It looks like we're done here. Still more comments coming in. Why don't we start at the very online at the Lowe's entrance comment? And person who wrote that could tell us a pinch more about that. Or should I read it first?
Yeah.
At the Lowe's entrance, it would be nice to consider a 3/4 access signal with a pedestrian refuge for a 2-stage pedestrian crossing away from Creasy Lane. Progression would be easily accomplished because each direction would operate independently. So the person who wrote that, is there any additional information you'd like to add?
Sorry, I forgot to put my initials with it. This is Tim Watson. This was kind of a brainchild that came from a JTRP study, but having early left turns into a development that have signalization, and on the opposite side where there is no left turn, you have a wide median, so you have plenty of space for a ped refuge. And at major intersections, we typically don't have a lot of space for ped refuge, and it typically would take a significant amount of exposure in the roadway to get a pedestrian across. So for pedestrian safety, as well as for efficiency of moving traffic into this facility, granted, there's probably plenty of gaps with the signal there at Creasy, so it may not be difficult for people to get into the Lowe's, but it's just an opportunity to have a ped refuge with a two-stage ped crossing that is easily coordinated both directions, because each side operates independently.
Great, thanks. So you think this should be a short term, medium range, or long range project?
It's definitely doable in the short term.
Okay, so how does everybody else feel about that one?
Is the refuge island upstream or downstream of the left? Sorry, I'm trying to picture it.
It's across from the left, because there is no opposing left.
West of Creasy Lane.
So the left turn would be to turn into Lowe's.
I think it would be
Right.
east of the left turn.
And
Right.
the ped
So-
refuge would be on the east side of the intersection.
Okay, so, okay,
Basically, you're, we've got a couple of these slotted lefts in place, one in Plainfield, one in Avon. The Costco that went in at Avon has this configuration, but we are in the process of getting the signal added and the ped refuge put in. So, but the configuration
pad
is
is on the
there,
turn.
and the center curb is on the right-hand side of the turn lane
Mm-hmm.
to preclude left turns out.
yeah, it's already, so that driveway is already right in, right out, so, but there is, that left turn is actually pretty easy to make because of the signal gaps. So, yeah, so a refuge island basically east of that. So that way, yeah, the left turns is looking at the refuge island in addition to the traffic. Yeah, no, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
And
Okay, so shorter term.
honestly, if you just want to take that same application and you could use the same thing at the Target. The right in, right out at the Target.
Window, right?
Yeah.
You could have a ped refuge there with a
Oh,
left
yeah,
in.
That's the Shenandoah. Yeah, there is a right there.
They have a right in right now. Oh, okay, just west of Target.
Okay, we got a lot of comments here, so we need to keep moving.
I guess you can.
Looks like we have somebody who wrote 3 comments on there. If you could share both those 3, please. Like Brian, I think those are yours. Online, closing as many uncontrolled left turns as possible.
Sounds good to me. I think
Oh,
you're muted.
Can't hear.
We can't hear you.
He can't, yeah, no, he's having problems with it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had this the other day. I know exactly what he's.
Okay, so the comments, closing as many uncontrolled left turns as possible. Is there a concept in traffic management about serving people trying to get to 65 and past versus people trying to access the business along the way? And then the other one, if Aria, could you move the screen over? It's getting cut off. The whiteboard.
It should be on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Okay,
You want to quickly go through them?
yes. So the first one, closing the uncontrolled left turns, it actually, if we could perhaps add on to the Lowe's consideration, and this might be undoable or unpopular, but nothing's off the table, I'll say, or I hope. Would it be possible to make that a ped crossing only and not allow traffic to cross into Lowe's or, or out of Lowe's. And I would apply that really to any of the uncontrolled
Get my Jesus chicken.
possibilities to make them all just ped crossings, because my notes throughout the project space was that there was, next to no pedestrian amenities. Moving quickly on, just today, part of the reason I'm late is that I had an appointment out off of South Street, and I've got to search for which entrance I can take to get to the business that I'm going to, and there's no wayfinding. It's hard to tell, even street signs sometimes. I mean, there are some street sign names, I guess, but just in terms of trying to tell what business is in what plaza and is accessible which way. It happened to me last night too. Tried to get to Fazoli's, missed my right turn into Fazoli's, and the only way to get back there was to make a left and then another left and get back in. There was no side access into there. And then the final one is, I don't know traffic engineering, but it seems like there's a conflict between people that are seeking to get to 65 or beyond 65 to neighborhoods or what have you, and the folks that are using South Street and the amenities within South Street. And is there a way to allow, if you're visiting a business, you can separate them in some fashion. I don't know how, but that was just an observation I made. That was it.
Okay.
That would definitely be ideal, although I don't know how to do that. Back to your first one about preventing lefts into the Lowe's from the eastbound. Yeah, traffic. That would basically push all that traffic up to Creasy, which would maybe not be the best idea. Basically, with that left there, we've split the lefts into 2 locations to kind of increase how much we can get through Creasy and decrease how much time people sit waiting in the red. But yeah, no, if we could, I definitely am on board for closing a lot or limiting the number of lefts and stuff, as Tom alluded to earlier. But I just wanted to make a point on that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we have some more online comments. Somebody would like to jump in and quickly go over theirs?
Well, I've got 2, the one in the center, the top, and the one on the left on the second line. Let's take the one on the second line to the left. The short-term projects would be to look at all of the traffic signalized locations and do a traffic signal visibility project there to enhance the visibility using blackheads, using the back plates, installing lighting to increase the visibility at nighttime, refresh your markings and signs. The signs were alluded to earlier. Retroreflective requirements should dictate we have good signs that people can see, and a lot of the lane control, overhead lane control signs were not there in place, like the left turn only signs. Those are short term, but in there, as part of the long term, I'd also suggest right now, short term, you get traffic counts at all of these locations. And these comments are the whole, I don't have to state them again, that goes for the whole corridor. Get traffic counts at all of the intersections, traffic movement counts to see, we can talk about closing medians, we can talk about making things into a different alternative intersections, but without the basic knowledge of what we're going to impact, how we're going to impact the people using it, we're just not doing our job. So we need to get traffic counts here to see if we can put it into a model. And that should be the first thing. Get this information, get this data so we can look at it and make informed decisions on what medians we can close, what intersections we can change into an RCI intersection. This long-term thing in the top center, I'd like to make this a gateway corridor. I would love to have this thing have a wider median. I believe we have the right of way. It's going to be expensive, I know that, but If we want to do it right, I think this is the right thing. Make this a median with grass and landscaping in the middle. We could offset the left turns where they need to be that way, or make them an RCI where we don't have left turns at the immediate intersections. Install the pathway, make it just a great corridor coming into town. But it's all based on the traffic counts. We have to have the movements so we know what we're doing and impacting people. And enhancing the bus stops, we can collectively look at what makes sense to put them there, the pedestrian sidewalks or trails to get them people there. That would be great. Have that connectivity so we keep people out of the roadway surface altogether. That's it. And you can take these comments and just spread them along the whole corridor.
Okay,
I
Thank
get
you.
2 thumbs up. I'm not online, so I can't do it, so I gotta do it here.
okay. Reaction, quick reaction?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna jump to a few of our comments here. Somebody like to share real quickly?
I just said streetlights. And I think.
You mean overhead lighting or,
Yeah.
yes, okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, and I can initiate a request for streetlights at Creasy and South right away. I don't know if it'll get funded, but I can at least initiate a request.
Okay.
I did it already once before, but it didn't get done.
I think that's a very low hanging fruit that will have immediate impact in the short term.
Mhm.
And that could be like the shortest of terms, right? I mean, you could, it's only money,
It's
right?
not, yeah, it's short, it's at least probably a year just with.
Right.
You could actually hang mast arms on your strain poles.
Could hang what?
Mast arms on your,
Mast arms on your strain poles and put lighting on it.
Yeah, that's a very simple fix.
Yeah.
Very short term.
Yeah.
write that down. Somebody capture that somehow. I don't.
We're recording this, so.
Okay,
Quite a few things. The first one I wrote was to lower the speed limit. Right now, we got 45-mile-an-hour traffic, constant stoplights. We got people walking with no sidewalks. We got bus stops that are dropping people off with no sidewalk, trying to get to grocery stores and dialysis, medical facilities. And it just, the impact of getting hit by a car going 45 miles an hour is much more significant, even 35 or 40. Every 5 miles an hour, it gets significantly more dangerous. No, I also think that's something that's be very short term.
Okay.
This is more of a long-term one, but I think we would want to really get a new access management policy in place. And then obviously it's going to take time to implement, but if we upfront come up with, here's the vision for the access with, backage roads, that kind of thing, right? That might be able to assist Brian in some of his trips to Fazoli's and such.
and everyone wants to get to Fazoli's.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I agree. So like or modeling it and access management, those are,
Goes along with the work we would do with synchro, so.
yes.
So you want to share a couple for?
Yeah, so what hasn't been mentioned so far, short term, put delineators on those median ends. I know that the barriers have been hit, but you've got nothing to, just a delineator or an object marker or something there, could be helpful in the short term. Yeah, it's gonna get hit, but it's the very last thing that we do, right? We can't move it or fix it yet, therefore we're gonna tell you it's here. I'd like to see that. Also, we talked about this before, but look at the signal timing, the all red phases and the yellows, they don't seem to be consistent. Look at lengthening the green time for those westbound lefts onto Creasy. Yes, because those seem to be the ones that weren't clearing and that was causing the red light running. Speed limit, pavement markings haven't been mentioned, or I guess they have been, but actually there's and this is actually on the other end, mostly on the other end, but there's a little bit on this end where that, and I saw it just the other day. That de facto shoulder lane has become a through lane. The aggressive drivers are using it as a lane, which of course creates safety issues and pedestrian issues. And I would also, in addition, in the modeling, I would also see if, in addition to and supplementing the RCIs, is look at some roundabouts at the lower volume intersections, not at Creasy. Please do not do that. So that's all I got.
You wanna throw in a couple, Jeremy?
They've been mostly.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody else would like to add some of their solutions or suggestions, projects, either here or online?
Yeah, just a small tag on to what Laura mentioned about the object markers on those crash attenuators. I'd suggested just painting the whole crash attenuator yellow so that even if the yellow bits are broken off, the rest of it's still visible. So same as the object marker, just.
As long as it's reflective, yeah, anything that's reflective. And you could even do
Yeah.
like the little buttons along the wall part.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, just anything to make it more visible.
I wonder too, in terms of trying to get off-street connections between different companies. You know, the pushback might be just the cost of doing the connection, or it might be, you know, what's the easement required? I didn't know if there was an opportunity, probably, I realized probably not for funding it, but at least providing technical assistance when it came to either engineering it and what it would look like, and also template easement documents that were already pre-done, just trying to make it easier for, you know, two places that are situated next to each other but don't have a connection to connect.
Okay. Great. Well, we are almost at 11 o'clock right now, so we need to switch gears and go to the next section. We're gonna leave a half an hour for the Creasy Lane section and then a half an hour for the last section, which is east of Creasy Lane to the I-65. I asked, instead of me just standing up here and leading this, I asked actually Jeremy to do this. And he agreed, so.
What's I gonna say? No,
Thanks, Jeremy.
I think, you know, since we're focusing just on the Creasy intersection here, hopefully we can make up a little bit of time, because I think a lot of our comments are corridor, you know, whole corridor specific. So let's try to keep this section specifically the Creasy Lane intersection focused. And we'll go ahead and get started with our findings. So those that are online, they can go ahead and start entering their comments about the Creasy intersection, and then here we can go ahead and do our post-it notes. And then I'll start reading the online ones as soon as they start popping up. Just too bad.
Yep. And again, if anyone's having trouble with the online whiteboard, you can type your comments in the chat and I can paste them in.
Is that a house right there? Or is that like a greenway?
Right here.
Yeah, like, no, right here, like if you were gonna connect that, was a house?
That is a house.
Oh, no, so what if you did, like, if you could connect that? Okay,
That's a good idea with the business.
okay, now I couldn't tell what was there. No, I was looking at just probably more backage. Ooh, these are good. Sniffle markers. There's no cops around, right? We can.
Get something for you to fold with the stop again, Lord.
So this is just, that's the only way in. This exit out the suit.
Not this week, just like.
Or
just-
another street and then go to puppies.
So we have, there's no infrastructure for pedestrians slash bike crossings. And I know that there is a moderately used bus stop right there at the Chick-fil-A. We've seen a lady that uses a walker, sitting out there on the walker. Couple things.
Yeah, I don't know if this is an observation and or a solution, but some of the ped heads that are timed, it seemed like the crossing phases were too short, so we just might want to look at how those were calculated in terms of number of feet per second that people are traveling.
You're talking further east, not in Creasy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we're
Yes.
looking at that anyway.
So I'd also suggest in your modeling and whatnot, because especially if they're gonna have that Wawa or whatever along in here by the Nissan dealership, and the Pandas already has the access to the bathrooms. I'd really add that north section above Creasy to your model. So you don't get more problems.
Yeah, what Laura's saying is the north leg of this intersection is problematic to
It's
the,
heading that way for sure.
to the north end of the Lowe's parking lot. It's very tough to turn left out of
It is,
the Lowe's
yeah.
parking lot. And, she said she would suggest adding that to any modeling that we do.
And you're gonna be increasing traffic going to behind the Nissan. With the addition of the other stuff.
Yeah, you can say I just, access that, so it's gonna be broken up into three additional. So just one flow and traffic solution and increases everything.
Oh, is the Nissan dealership moving?
Yes. They're moving out to Sagamore Parkway, DeFow, where DeFow is, because DeFow is now the Nissan dealer. They're building. a new
Good to know. I have a Nissan, so it's good to know. Okay, yeah.
That's going to be a Raising Cane's on the corner and then a Wawa possibly next to
Okay.
it.
So we have 3 new places coming in, he said?
Split it into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really gonna.
Yeah. We have, and I like Brian's comment. He says, even though it's a high traffic intersection, I would be interested in seeing what a roundabout would look like for this intersection. I agree.
I also agree, if you can accommodate, say.
I don't think anybody would like a 3-lane roundabout.
The only reason sorry, is someone talking?
Yeah, what did, was that you, Tim?
Yeah, I said nobody would like a 3-lane roundabout. And I
Thank
think
you.
that's the only way you could move that much traffic, I think.
I'm just knowing the drivers around here is, all of us do. I think to the Tapalingo, not Tapalingo, coming down off the vet school, South Street and
Williams. No.
yeah.
Williams and River Road.
Yeah,
And
that is a 2-lane roundabout. I don't know how many near misses I see there on a daily basis because I go through Chick-fil-A. And that's a
There's
much lower volume, much significantly lower volume, and it's a bit scary sometimes. And
Yeah,
so
that
my only
intersection-
thing, yeah, sorry. go
It's one of
ahead.
the highest crash intersections in the county at River Road and Harrison Street there. Yeah, that roundabout.
Harrison? Yeah, it is Harrison.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Harrison.
yeah.
The Harrisons.
Even after the roundabout, it's one of the highest frequency of crashes.
Yeah, I mean, they're not serious crashes, but there's a lot of.
Right. Right, and that's
roundabout
what,
crashes.
probably half the volume at least of what we're looking at here. So that one, I mean, it operates okay. But there's so much, the 2-lane roundabout here just
Yeah,
invites
people,
a lot
they
of
don't
confusion.
understand it.
Is it something that will,
How long has that been in?
gonna say, how long before it saturates?
I think Dave Buck was still the city engineer.
So like 5 years?
All by the time they got it.
It's been in what, for at least 5 years? It's not any better.
I think there could be minor tweaks to that roundabout to make it
For sure.
less crashes.
Yes.
Not very usable.
So
Yeah.
according to the,
It's kind of hard to see, especially everybody comes around off the bridge and they're thinking they can just go right through, but then, you know, some people stop and hesitate, which causes everybody else to hesitate.
It's
hard to
not
see.
that. It's not that.
No, like he was talking about disability, so I was saying that's one thing is when
Yeah.
you're around it, you can't see what it's gonna be and you're almost upon it. So it's like you do need to.
No, I'm talking about sorry, we're digressing, but it's within the roundabout. People are not using it correctly.
So they're increasing lane observations.
I just wrote.
Paint for the dual lefts. There's some that are very faded, but if that would, I know they get painted every year, but maybe that needs to be painted twice a year.
Or look at putting thermo down. I mean, if you do something that your higher volume things, maybe put some thermo down instead of having to paint it every year or twice a year.
Yeah, those particular ones have been thermal.
They have.
Yeah, they've even been grouped in and they still,
Just because the amount of traffic going
Yes.
over it.
yes,
They're very tight.
it's very problematic.
Mhm.
Wow.
Keep
So,
those.
yeah, just paint it.
Yeah.
No sense wasting thermo if you.
And the distance between the intersection at Creasy, of course, and then that driveway, that first driveway, just to the south that, goes into the pavilions.
Yeah.
So I've noticed several times when I want to head south, I'm still waiting behind north of south because the pavilions backs up.
It does. Especially when Sam says gas for really cheap. No, I'm serious. Like that turn lane going southbound.
That's the only place my wife will go for gas.
I know people like that.
And I mean, and you can go down and go into Sam's and come back up. But no, people go right there and it bottlenecks. So I would include that in your model as well, because they're all connected and related, right? There's not even a ton of things here for people. I mean, this could be at full capacity, right? If it was at full capacity,
Mhm.
it would, yeah,
Yeah, there are other driveways,
yes.
because I prefer to go to the one to the south.
Yes.
Very far south.
Yeah, if I'm going south, yeah, I'll go out that way.
Mhm.
One by the grocery.
But if this somehow gets revamped and are they going to put something in the TGIF? Are they gonna put something in the TGIF?
Yeah, in fact, they were looking.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
talking to them while we were out there.
Yeah,
It's another restaurant.
okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously they're trying to increase this, so that's,
The suggestion about the refuge island that flows getting active, we did that.
rationale. Oh, I love it. Look at the
All four
list.
sections of the intersection. That would be way better than trying to even attempt to let pedestrians cross. At Creasy because it's just
In the chat.
7 lanes. You have two going this way, 2 turns, 2 forward and a right turn. It's just.
Yeah,
So wide.
so the comment is it's too wide for pedestrian crossings
Agreed,
without some type of refuge.
yes. I mean, I know you have space on the shoulders there. Do you have space to add refuge island?
Not currently, but do we have right of way for it? Possibly, I don't.
Yeah, when you're heading west and want to make southbound with the dual left, those left turn lanes, they're very narrow.
Yeah,
They're probably 11 foot.
I'd be surprised if they're 11. I think they're narrower.
Yeah, and you have the drainage right down the center underneath too. So,
Yeah, making that northbound left from Creasy to westbound, and I'm usually in the inside lane, it is tight. You could push that median, or you could push that as an attenuator, you could push the cross cushions back.
Yeah, interestingly, that one doesn't get hit like.
Yeah.
I think
Because
because
everybody's like.
it's larger if you so. It's larger and more intimidating, I think.
Yeah.
with Those barrels there.
It's the shy distance.
Question. Are you guys talking about solutions already? Because I put one in the Post-its for a medium to long-term solution for Creasy.
What was that?
Yes, that's
Displaced
Go ahead.
left turns. Where you cross the left turn traffic over. And that way, when the light's green, the left turns and the throughs go at the same time.
Or is that 10?
that's 10.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
So can you explain that for the good of the group, what you mean by the displaced left turns?
Yes, in advance of the intersection, you would have the left turning traffic get on the opposite side of the road. So you've got a lot of green space there on each side of the road. I'm assuming that's right of way. But
Big old
you
ditch.
cross over the left turners in advance of the intersection and put them on like westbound would be on the south side of the road. And so when the light turns green for east-west through, the left turners go at the same time. So the entire through phase is also the left turn phase. And the right turners would turn with the north and southbound lefts.
And does that help pedestrians?
You can then create a refuge in the median for the pedestrians to cross because you don't have the left turns at the intersection.
So that would be kind of a long term, I imagine, just because building, there's a big old ditch out there.
Evansville's doing that along the Lloyd in several locations.
Yeah, I've seen it at
High volume
interchanges.
traffic.
Yeah. That's gonna be really fun to explain to the people. I mean, I'm not against it at all, but it's just, it'll be entertaining to watch you guys try to explain it.
It moves a lot more traffic because you take away an entire phase.
Yeah, because if and when pedestrian phasing is added to the signals, like if it was just done as is right now, it would really cause more congestion as you're adding to the signal.
I don't know how many pedestrians you have that are actually wanting to cross at Creasy. I don't know where they would be coming from and going to, honestly, at the intersection. Typically you have housing that generates pedestrians.
There's quite a few.
I see them out there
Okay.
frequently. The issue that we heard is there's even some crossing now, but if and when this is made safe for pedestrians, there will be many more because a lot of people try to avoid it now.
Again, if you do the displaced left, you can have the peds cross at the signal where you displace the lefts.
So prior to the intersection,
Correct.
and that is actually around where the bus stop is, I believe. Isn't it? That's person.
On the west side, there is a map that has the bus stops.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is.
The one below it. That's the map, the bus stops.
Yeah, and I have a quick question here. All these pedestrian solutions, are they also usable for bicyclists or other kind of mid-speed users, scooters?
If it's good for pedestrians, cyclists tend to have two options. If they want a trail, they don't like having all the interference with the side streets. Sometimes cyclists rather ride in the road. I don't know how they like to do it in Lafayette, but if you're a commuter cyclist, you don't want to take a trail. If you're a recreational cyclist, your trails are okay. If you're crossing at any intersection as a recreational cyclist, it's probably safer to cross at a ped crossing. But, you know, again, depends on the cyclist, whether they want to ride in the road or if they want to ride separated.
Yeah, because South Street at 40 miles per hour is not safe for a cyclist on the road.
I don't know what the right of way through that corridor is, but it seems like there's a lot of green space on the outsides.
It did appear that there's very wide right of way.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even beyond the ditch, it looks like you could fit a trail in beyond the ditch easily.
if you have shoulders, you could easily have bike lanes.
Painted by, just that.
You could almost do separated, but then clearing them of snow and things like that. Yeah. Street sweeping becomes an issue. But you could have a separated curb there.
Yeah, that's gonna be better. Like that road as it is. Even
There- There was another solution. And it's turbo roundabouts.
I've heard that term.
Who added that one? It's really long.
That's me. Apologies for cutting and pasting from the internet, but this actually might go back to the previous comment I made about kind of two different customers really along that road or users. And the turbo roundabout puts a barrier, a physical barrier between the two lanes. So people going straight through would adopt the center lane, and people turning straight through and left would go in the center, and then straight and right would take the curb lane, I would assume. But basically addresses some of the issues. The 2-lane roundabouts basically have the same problem as when you build a wider street to allow for parking, and then if there's not parking, then you get people who feel the street's wide enough to go faster, and the roundabouts seem to have that same problem. When you have the 2 lanes, people feel like they can go faster through the roundabout because they have more space, and then, oh, hey, look, there's a car. So this appears to, I mean, not that I'm trying to push an agenda, I'm just found it, thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I just Googled it to see what it looked like. It looks like channelized rights. And
Are there any resources for like technical documentation about how to build those standards?
There's some in the United States now too.
there is a federal highway tech brief about turbo roundabouts. See, Aaron, I'm doing your job now. It was the first thing that popped up, so.
So it's not roundabout. It's not roundabout or it's that kind of style.
So it's different. It's different.
It's basically got it's channelized, and even in the roundabout, it has channel or. Separate.
That probably takes more of a footprint though, right? Physical space.
Not much more, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know about pedestrians because when you put turbo in, that kind of. I don't mean that in a bad way, but one of the problems with it is basically a slip lane, keeps traffic at speed. And that doesn't go well with pedestrians. But I think it's definitely worth looking at, and I think it's something they should throw in the model. Whoever's doing who's doing model, you?
so we also had the clearance phase for the westbound left turn is too short.
Yes, that was one of mine as well.
That could be a short term.
Yes. Because, yeah, it's 3 or 4 cars easy, keep going through that road. So,
All right.
And this would be a weird one if you put this like an interchange, separate the two letters.
Make it a grade separation.
Yeah. As a very far, I mean, that's a
That was
huge expensive project. Thing that would be.
We've got about 40 minutes left here.
Okay, should we go on?
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
unless there's other comments we haven't heard yet, then we'll move forward with the rest of the corridor.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. So we're gonna now focus on the last section, east of Creasy Lane to I-65. And include, of course, the interstate. I think to speed up the time so we have more discussion. For this, I think we're going to do the posted notes, both the observations and then solution and projects. So then we can, when we have a discussion on that, we can have more time to do that. So at this time, you could both write out your observations and then also solutions and projects.
Yeah. Sorry, you have to leave now.
That is true. Mean we can have two?
Donuts, you brought donuts to a cop shop.
Oh, wow.
That's funny. I didn't think about it.
So while we got a second here, something that Jeremy and I talked about a little bit in the field, but in this section, there is some overhead signage for the interstate. Which is great, but there is definitely some issues with, cars not knowing what lane they need to be in. Still, apparently you see people trying to move at the last second. So just general evaluation of overhead signage, lane markings as well, specifically near this, you know, you can only do so much, but it's just something to consider while we're looking at this meeting.
It's like my solution of building another entertainment business. You guys know it?
Sure.
We're moving forward with that.
Huh?
We're actually moving forward.
Really? What a great idea. Is it at my party? Oh. I've written many IJRs in my phone, so. I was listening.
You're just at the beginning stages.
Maybe, yeah. We came up with it all. Are you putting any others in?
I thought that was tongue in cheek when he said something.
No, no, it was good. I had not, no offense, I live here, but I don't really follow what's being planned until it's like being built. I'm an engineer, not a planner, because I have such faith in the planners in APC that I don't have to worry about you guys,
Oh, thanks.
right? I gotta worry about the rest of the state, right?
The health of it.
Are you planning any other interfaces? Okay. Oh, really? Where?
We'd like a 231.
Mhm.
But that.
231. Oh, you are.
Yeah.
About that.
Mhm.
That's, speaking of long term.
Yeah, that's long term.
Yeah, that doesn't really help me any, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I go that way a lot, but I just go, I'm west of town anyway, so I just go 231, 52, 231.
That's
Hey, Aria, can you move the whiteboard over so we can see?
No, it wasn't tongue in cheek. That's hilarious. See, that's how you know it's a good idea.
We're having trouble seeing it here. Do we need to move it over?
You need to move it over on your end. If it didn't, just move
Okay.
over now.
Okay. So we can't tell if anybody's filling it in. Oh.
Being
At the
right.
bottom. Oops, I really screwed up.
Uh-oh. Ooh, secret
Oh.
documents.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay, so we're back here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
To go view all like my chats and everything, so they were all once.
Here's this.
And somebody's like,
I'm pretty big fan.
yeah,
I was-
and I forgot to mute Teams one time.
There you go.
Not Chat, I didn't use chat, but I had a meeting pop up. And I was
Okay, great.
invitation on my phone.
This is going down.
Sorry.
Is that? Yeah. Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
Okay,
There
okay.
you go, there we go.
Okay. Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
You know what? So it's okay.
Zoom in some.
Yeah, and move it down.
That's I used to do meetings on my iPad.
There we go.
And we set
Okay.
the camera on, and everybody's like, all we can do is see you doing that. I was like, oops.
I done writing this period?
I had
Yes.
no observations that were this June.
Yeah. Just saying.
I think my only non-general one was the de facto right turn, which I already said, the de facto third lane.
Everything's okay, but interstate?
No. No, I think we were all talking about, closing the access road progress in Red Cloud, was that correct? Closing
Yes.
these,
Yeah.
bad access and making people queue up as they should on the actual streets. Because they can access, I would just sign it because what I would do and everybody else is just let their speed limit. Is McDonald's? No, that's the gas station. This is McDonald's. Yeah,
Arby's.
No, I think it's.
no, Arby's is
Okay.
across from Chipotle.
Okay. So you got, is that in your notes for it?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, sir, it's the hard part. Because we looked on Google Maps and you can get in this way to this stuff. And this obviously has the.
Is that putting them on?
No, I think it's actually they put it in, because this is the Luke and then the Panera. And I think there's back way in access specifically for those.
Everybody's
Goes around, a roundabout way to get to the hotel and then to.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. People get it from there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like very, I have to go to that.
We just did that, it's like, no.
I'd rather
Yeah.
park at the speedway and walk.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Feasibility of it.
So we done here for taking notes? Are we done online and taking notes? So it seems we got one left.
I just feel like what I see, a bunch of people who know destination, so they're just driving, going, and all the types of people who are like stopping up there. No, that's not.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and,
So it's.
get started?
There's no control.
We'll address the ones online, starting with, the one side. Traffic backs up a ton in this area. I second that. Blocking some of the many driveways and intersections. The two eastbound left turn lanes on I-65 northbound ramp do eventually merge into a single on-ramp lane to the highway, so there can be some merging, jostling for position there and on the ramp. The next one, while visiting the I-65 southbound ramp intersection, the pedestrian signal would not turn on. Not sure if that is from the problem at northbound ramp intersection at that time. Progress Drive south of intersection, does that driveway need to be open there? Causes a lot of confusion with drivers. Could the traffic for Panera Longhorn be directed to the lower driveway near Doubletree? If those who wrote those comments would like to add more onto that,
I wrote the first two. I don't know if I have anything more to say. Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion from anybody about those four?
So it would be a matter of, as far as the, sorry, trying to push traffic to the back road, how best to go about doing that? Is it a matter of signage trying to indicate that they should drive further back, or how can we encourage people to take a different route?
I think you have to cut off the gas station access to the frontage road.
Yeah.
And cut off the frontage road and force it to go south to that access to the DoubleTree.
And you definitely need
Enhance
signage.
that north-south leg so that it can handle two-way traffic easier to get to all those businesses along the frontage.
I think
You don't want people going through the gas station to get to those.
Right.
So you got to completely cut it off if you cut off the frontage.
Anything?
Have fun telling them.
You know, it was set up to go that way when that back access was built. And I had actually drawn that up back when we still owned South Street, I believe. I drew up a sketch utilizing a back access to get to all these businesses. You know, it's all about redevelopment. At whatever point something redevelops, just force it to happen. You know, if we missed an opportunity somewhere in here to get these people to come off of a access road further back. But that's the whole point of redevelopment. You got to have a long-term plan. You got to follow the plan.
Any other comments on observations? Any other observations? Especially, I'm surprised we haven't talked about the I-65 southbound ramp and the right turn lane, the number of rear end crashes there.
I think what I noticed out there is and actually on both southbound and northbound rights, it's it could be a continuous flow lane. You have a yield sign, so people are unsure. People who know, oh, I don't need to stop. I can merge over further up. And people who aren't familiar are going to stop. So you have, it's the difference between those two drivers. It's probably causing a number of rear ends there. Other than that, it's because it's signalized, there's no other reason for them to be running into each other.
Yeah, I think it was that hesitation. So
Right.
I imagine the yield signs there because of pedestrian crossing. Yield sign that pedestrian.
So would it be possible, and I'm talking about a solution here, instead of having that yield sign, take that out and then put like rapid flashing beacons? So that if pedestrians are there and want to cross, they can hit that, let traffic know, but otherwise take the yield sign out.
Where crossing where?
Because there are
That's where
pedestrian,
that yield signs at, there's painted.
there's a pedestrian crossing.
Where?
Didn't we see that while we were out there? We saw somebody crossing, I believe.
Yes.
You talk, which intersection are you talking about?
Crossing the ramp or the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're, they're crossing the ramp, right?
And we're talking about the southbound ramp off the interstate on the north side, people making a right-hand turn.
No, it's yield signs on both.
Well, you do.
Yield signs are because that's what you put up when you put in a channelized right or signalized intersection. I would not put an RFB that close to an intersection. You're talking about putting it right at the intersection or right at the rail?
Right there, so. when
Right there where?
Right there on the right turn lane. So where the yield sign is, that where you put it, because you would let the right turns just do a continuous flow. But when a pedestrian wants to cross, they could activate it, so that would let the cars know. So otherwise, when there's no pedestrians, they could just go. Or instead of having a yield sign, having an arrow.
Well, yeah, there's, I would put a continuous flow sign.
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know about the R, I would defer to other people. I don't know about the RFP that close to a signal because of the different lights. And if you have flashing over here and lights over here, has anybody done that successfully?
It's
I
just a
think-
thought.
Yeah.
I think regardless of the solution there, people come off the highway at a high speed. So if a pedestrian wants to cross, there needs to be some sort of control to slow people down, or else there won't be time to stop.
Well, I'm gonna say there's good visibility so that the pedestrian can make a good choice.
I don't know if there's lighting currently though, right?
Like
But
overhead lights.
there's, yeah, overhead lights, but there is
Yeah.
good sight lines. It's true.
Yeah, to keep somebody in a walker, to take them a little bit longer to get a light on. I mean, even if it's.
There is lighting.
Still be an intersection.
There is light.
When it crosses.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Mhm. Anything else in terms of solution or observations for this?
So let me ask, is there a rear end crash problem on that right turn southbound?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That was the number one location. There were, I believe, 130 of all the spots or all the locations in the entire quarter. That's the number one location.
Yeah.
That, I mean, that just had way more than any other spot.
So based on the design that's out there now, you've got two options to fix that. One, you eliminate that large right turn island, because that's the problem, is that they're going and skewing out in a direction that they have to look over their shoulder to see the oncoming traffic. And it's the second vehicle in line that thinks the first vehicle is going and they don't, but they're looking over their left shoulder. They're not looking ahead because it's too much of a skew. So you either straighten it up, bring the right turns into the signal, or you have the option, because that extra lane continues for 2 blocks. You could, in essence, have that right turn traffic get its own lane. But the problem with that is 4 blocks down, they have to be 2 lanes over to continue west.
Yeah.
So it's a double merge if they come out and use that lane only. And so it might, depending on the volume, I mean, we'd have to look at how the volume split up.
Yeah.
But it might be more practical to force them to come out at the signal and just make a right turn on red if they want to go on red, but get a green indication and make their movement with the through movement southbound.
Yeah. From what I remember, traffic volume wise, that ramp and the corresponding one on the other side going on northbound, there was roughly 8,000 to 9,000 vehicles a day on for each ramp individually. So
What's the split for right and lefts though, if you recall?
that I don't remember offhand.
Okay. Because that may be the factor that is at play here, that there may not be enough time to serve all the right turners at a signal.
Yeah.
But the merge is kind of confusing there, because that lane add at the ramp could be utilized to just keep that traffic moving. And some people may be doing that, and that's what we get into problems with, is some people will do that and other people will actually stop and yield. So that's where you get the crash problem. So if we're going to keep it as an added lane, then they have to merge over in the next 2 blocks. And then after that, they got to merge over again in the next 2 blocks.
Yeah, they can do it.
Possible.
No, that is the
You
issue.
just,
Yeah.
you talk about congestion and traffic backed up in this area. So if traffic's congested, you don't have gaps to merge in. It's not
already-
free flowing. They're not moving
Right.
into free flowing traffic.
True, not all the time, but it's pretty much operating like that now anyway. As when people are coming. Yes, there are some that stop, but a significant number keep going and do that double merge.
Yeah.
So I will say it's already happening.
But if you're going westbound, there are no people.
We're talking about
making-
eastbound.
Okay, okay.
What?
Never
We're talking
mind.
westbound,
Oh, I thought we were talking eastbound.
So if they're.
southbound ramp. Southbound.
Yeah,
ramp
so-
going-
Yeah.
Going west.
So-
Oh, westbound, sorry.
So, the traffic signal right there, there's no people that are going to be making a left turn and heading westbound. So the cars that are going to be going westbound are basically going to queue up behind the light. So that light that will create gaps for people to merge over, correct? Because there's no, where would the cars be coming from outside of that?
But the problem is, if you have that free flow continuously, they are also free flowing when that westbound platoon is progressing through the corridor
Right. Mhm.
without gaps. So if it's continuous free flow, right,
Mhm.
you have
Mhm.
times when you cannot merge over. And then you get forced off at an intersection.
Yeah.
Can we model this? Can we add that to what, to model and see
Mhm.
based on the level of volume?
Mhm.
If,
Yeah, I like Tom's idea of modeling the whole corridor and getting all the major commercial drives, getting counts for every one of them, all turning movements, and modeling the entirety of the corridor to see what can be
Mhm.
closed off, where can we restrict access, where can we combine access, you know, and what can we do with these, and what's the most prudent. So you don't want to just move the crash problem down the road to be in side swipes.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's based on we're kind of on the same page, although we may disagree about what to do, but until we have the data, we don't know what to do, right? We
Yeah,
can give you.
I think that's
suggestions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think in my experience, what I see here most is when you're going westbound off the interstate, everyone's merging left, left, left through the lanes because which lanes go straight and which lanes are forced to turn into the shops change over the length of that segment. So everyone's always merging left on that section westbound. Then eastbound, it's all backed up getting onto the highway.
A lot of turbulence there.
Yeah, that's my experience on that road.
Okay. Well, we have some
Weird.
short, medium, long-term projects suggested. I'll read those three. Consider connecting Norman Drive to Grace Lane to shift left turns out of Palm Beach Tan over to Eastland Drive, Package Road connectivity in general. Consider a possibility of eliminating signal at Farrington, closing median, and making use of back access to make left turns. Depending on results of complete study that Tom referenced, it could become a 3/4 signal to increase the quarter progression. And then could actually make Marketplace a 3/4 access signal to the south and create back connectivity to the north businesses. This will allow for optimum signal progression at Marketplace. And I've noticed that as well, is both on the north and south side is creating backage roads for the entire, for a fairly length of the corridor. So it gives people, a secondary option to get to the different, whether it be a restaurant or to the car dealership. So they have another choice instead of going out on State Road 26 or South Street.
Their choice is greasy.
Yeah.
If we would look at all ways, I was looking at the map, I would look at all ways that you could potentially connect more
Yeah.
and make it, a nice road or something like that, not just.
Mhm.
But look at all your opportunities to connect off of the road.
Mhm.
Sounds good to me.
Any other discussion on that specific thing, or anybody want to mention other things, in this location, the interstate or to the west of this? You have anything to add, Jeremy?
No, I was just gonna say that what Aria was talking about the turbulence of people continuously shifting lanes for the left, which is problematic. And even, I mean, I drive this all the time and I'll be in what I think is a through lane and then I realize, it's a right turn only up here and then I have to shift over.
Yeah.
So if I'm,
Signage could be
if
better.
I'm thinking clearly, I will immediately shift into one of those two lanes that is through all
Yeah.
the way through.
But when you're texting and driving, sometimes you forget.
Yes.
And I get it, I get you. No, but seriously though, overhead signs, this lane drops or
Yeah.
right turn only, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. So anything else to add on this section?
Yes, got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah, so, I guess we're at the point now where, it's almost done. So, again, like to thank all of those who are here, either online or in person, for helping with this project. This is a fairly extensive, corridor we looked at, a lot to do in such short a time. I will start, collecting everything we have and then, put together a document and then send it out for everybody to look at to make sure that we have it all, what we were thinking of. So that I understand it, and make sure I've got everybody's comments and whatnot. And then after that, we will then go out for public release. Any other comments or questions to add?
I was just adding one, sorry, I forgot to say it earlier. I know it's very low volume and only at night, but the railroad crossing near Hammond has no warning whatsoever. And even somebody who, like I said, nobody, unless you happen to be there at night, you're not gonna know, you're not gonna expect a train. So if I go through there at night, it's totally an unexpected condition. I don't think it's gonna warrant gates or anything, but some flashers or something to say, hey, these are actually active tracks, because nobody thinks they are.
Okay.
Those are active tracks.
Yes.
Yeah, see, thank you.
I think.
I've
I
never
remember
seen a
I
train
was
there.
Driving out there one morning about 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Black, and I literally missed a train by, by seconds, because I didn't see it.
You were
I didn't
luckier than
hear
I
it.
was.
Did you get hit?
Did you hit a train? Did you hit a train?
On Cassuth Street.
They go really slow.
Yeah.
Good, but.
Yeah.
It was terrifying when I realized that lane was a train and it was literally feet away from me.
You know, we always tell people that it's really funny, but people do drive it to the sides of trains.
Of course.
You
So
live to
does-
something.
Does the train have a flagman?
Does it have a what?
A flag.
A flagman that
No
gets out
clue.
and stops traffic? in the
I don't
middle
think
of
I do.
No,
No.
the train just kept going.
Yeah, there's no way.
He
No,
was talking
Well,
like
I-
crossed it right in front of me.
I have seen them flagging at Maine,
Okay.
so.
but it's a dark corridor
Yeah.
at night, and
I
I would rather see some more active protection there. Not necessarily gates, but at least flashers,
Yes.
Very rarely. There's never.
because that would,
But that only takes one.
Yeah.
One to cover.
it would definitely get my attention if all of a sudden there's flashers going off in something I thought wasn't active tracks.
Well, again, I'd like to thank everybody who participated on this, especially your time today. Appreciate all of the comments, input. And if you'd like to add any additional comments, questions, suggestions, solutions here in the next couple weeks, please feel free to email me. And then if you do have any questions, I am taking next week off, so the week after that, you can give me a call, or email me. So again, thank you very much.
Yes.
And thank you for the city, for having us, in this room.
I'm gonna go bring some cops and donuts now, and get some curry some favor.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
No, let's all take a couple of days.
Donuts to go. So are you guys going to